Hello, hello, everyone. I see the numbers creeping up. We will give it another minute or two before we get started. All righty, it's 2 minutes past the hour. It looks like we have a good number of people here. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Aisha Williams. I am a professional services leader here at Mosaic. I will be presenting to you today. And I also have joining with me Jamie Taylor, a senior functional consultant here at Mosaic. She will be manning the chat. So feel free to shoot over your questions as we are diving through the presentation today on Back Office to Web with Mosaic. We have a pretty easy agenda today. We'll cover why we are moving to the web payroll. Looks like someone can hear me. Jamie, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. We'll cover why we are moving to the web payroll, a few of the simple steps to do so, the pros and what we'll call not so pros of moving, when and why wait, and we'll have some time for some Q&A. I'll also try to stop in between every couple of slides to see if there are any questions in the chat. So it looks like two people can't hear us, but you can hear me. Okay, Veronica can hear also. Okay. So Letty and Tandy, maybe check your settings and we will keep moving. All righty. So as most of you are aware, UKG, thank you everyone, UKG is what I will call getting rid of the back office. We have been hearing about that at least since my time at UKG almost 10 years ago, but it is finally here. So with the web, you will have some options for the one-stop shop to payroll processing. That will include reports, business rules, processes, etc. You can process by status, which is not contingent on all pay groups being at the same step in the process. So if you think about processing payroll in the back office, you have some limitations there when you are processing by status. In the web, if you have 5 pay groups, you can say, I want to open payroll for all 5 pay groups at one time. I want to create batches for all 5 pay groups at one time. Things like that. You will have those options to do that, which makes the web payroll processing a little bit faster, and I call it a little bit more sleek than the back office payroll. One of the other big things is you have the ability to secure those payroll steps by model and by user. So for example, if you have some individuals in your organization that you want to be able to open payroll, but maybe not finish, we can put some restrictions around that user's role, or maybe only one person can calculate, things like that, to where you have some additional security built around there. And it helps make it a lot more secure and satisfy quite a bit of the internal controls that many of our customers have. You can import multiple source files, each with a different template for multiple pay groups. So if you are importing with WFM and let's say you have a bonus check file and some manual adjustments, you're able to do all of those at one time in one step, and it moves super quick there. You have the option to undo. Those of you who are familiar with the back office, and you have to go into what I call the little sneaky careful screen to go in and undo some of those payroll steps. You won't have to do that in the web. There is an option along the right where it says things I can do, and you just click undo and it rolls it back for you and pretends that it never happens. If you have only been on the back office, the pending pay feature might be new to you, and it's a really cool feature. Say, for example, Sally Sue was missing 8 hours on her check. You can use the pending pay functionality, go in and say, hey, Sally Sue, employee number 12345, missed 8 regular hours on the check, schedule it for your next regular payroll. And when you open payroll, there's a little checkbox there that says, would you like to bring in all of your pending pay items? And Sally Sue's 8 hours will automatically appear. So you don't have to worry about tracking multiple pieces of paper or things on SharePoint or things like that. You can just go in, create it, and it'll pull in with your next payroll. Another big thing is the direct import to payroll batch tables via an API for WFM. If you are a WFM, UTM, UTA customer, I'm sure you're familiar with that. It is a direct import. Once you click that create batches step, there is a step to bring in time, and it will pull from all of those respective time products from UKG. Pretty easy, pretty slick. It makes things so much easier. One of the main reasons why you would want to move to the web is nothing will be added or changed in the back office. So the way the back office is today will be the way the back office is in 6 months, 9 months, whenever UKG decides they will be removing access completely to customers. It will look exactly the same. So if you've been around UKG for quite some time, you've probably seen quite a few of the releases where they are announcing new features. You typically don't see those new features in the back office because they are moving as much as possible to the web. So there won't be any additional investments there. So as we continue to grow with technology, the web will be the way to go. So we also already talked about security, so we will skip past that one. You can do different payroll models. So you can have a payroll model to where you don't have to bring in time. You can have a payroll model to where you are bringing in time. And you can have what we call an open close payroll model, which is good for those quick instant checks. You want to do a quick calculation of a check. You can use that open close payroll model. You can roll this out in phases. I actually have a couple customers now that we're rolling all of their pay groups out at one time. But if they wanted to, they could say, hey, we only want to roll out pay group A, B, and C starting October 1st, and then we want to do D, E, and F starting January 1st. You can totally do this in phases to make this easier. If you think that you want to kind of test it out with some of your smaller pay groups and see how it works, get your team trained, that is totally feasible. And then in, say, January, in that example, you can go ahead and do your larger pay group and get everyone on board at the same time. Do we have any questions, Jamie, before I show? Okay, great. So these are a few of the screenshots of the web. If you've peeked around in here before, some of this may look familiar to you. I do encourage you, if you can, to kind of poke around a little bit. Don't change anything, of course, but just poke around and see what's here. You see the layout is pretty slick here. You have the options right here to create your off cycles, adjustments, instant checks. This unresolved payroll items, I was actually around when UKG first wrote this out. It's actually pretty nice to have this on screen instead of going to do all of those additional researching or doing those extra pre-check reports. If you had unresolved payroll items, you could click here and it will give you a list of all of the items that for each employee that may need to be changed. And in most cases, you will be able to easily identify the error message of maybe that employee has a missing social security number, or they don't have wages but they have deductions or something like that. Those error messages will be very easy to identify. In this center screen, you have all of the information for the time and pay details, pending pay, which we talked about, pay distributions, and learning resources. Within Core, you can click several of these hyperlinks and get to those learning resources to help you with processing that payroll and understanding what happens when you create batches, what happens when you bring in time, and all of the things that are happening behind the scenes. This last screenshot is a quick snapshot of where I mentioned you can process by pay group and where you can process by status over to the right. I always tell my clients I'm still a bit old school, so I still process by pay group, but of course we know how to process by status. I can do it. It's just instinctive. I still process by pay group. But if you still wanted to process by status, you can click on that option again and open all of those pay groups at once, create all those batches at once, and they will all run. It's pretty cool, fast, and slick. You will also see on that landing page inside the pay group is the payroll reports that are available to you and your various options for the payroll setup. You'll have some options within there to add and change earnings and deductions and taxes. On screen, it will allow you to drill down into those earnings and deductions right on screen without going into your business rules and all the extra clicks the long way. So it is quite a few shortcuts on that screen. Again, that makes optimizing moving to the web so much better. And then you have your pay calendar. Under this things I can do, there are all of those wonderful hyperlinks that in the back office, for most of these that are available still in the back office, you will have to kind of navigate around and fish to find this information. But here along the right under things I can do within that payroll gateway, you can easily click and navigate to any of these really, really simple, really, really fast. So you'll see something like view status of your direct deposit group files. If you're processing payroll for 4 pay groups and you send them all in direct deposit groups, you can see the status of those, make sure that they've been transmitted over to your bank, all within one quick and simple step. And one other thing that I love about this payroll gateway screen is that you will always see a status of where you are in the payroll in this faint blue spot at the top of the screen. So if you walk away, take lunch or something, and you come back and you say, oh shoot, what's the last step that I ran? You can also see it a little bit further down, but right at the top, it'll always tell you, in this example, the start process has been undone. It is now available for selection to run again. It will say you've calculated payroll or you've brought in a couple of time import files. So it helps to remember things for you when you walk away from your computer. All right. So this is a little bit more on processing by status. You can process again by one pay group. You can process by multiple pay groups. If you are a person or a company that has 5 or 6 pay groups, I wouldn't want you to be like me. I would want you to be better than me and make sure that you are processing using those process by status so that you can make sure that you are being efficient with your process. So you have that flexibility there. The other side to that is if you have 5 payroll clerks and they only have access to one specific pay group, they will still have the option just to view that one pay group and they can still process by pay group. So it's not an all or nothing in that space. One payroll processor could have 5 different pay groups that they manage, and they could choose to process by status. And another payroll processor could also have another 5 pay groups that they manage, and they could choose to process by pay group. It is totally flexible. Any questions in the chat, Jamie? Perfect. So here's where I mentioned you can import using existing back office and templates and multiple different types of templates. This is that bring in time step within the payroll gateway. And again, it'll always tell you your pay period, start and ending date, your pay frequency, etc. And you see all of these time import templates that you currently have available in back office can always be moved over to core. So that's pretty cool, pretty slick. You won't have to teach anyone in your payroll department anything new as far as how to format any of those time import templates. We'll just be moving them over and making them available for use in the web. So this is actually one of my favorite pieces here, which is this analytics step. You have the option to turn this on or off. I always recommend that clients use this analytics piece because it helps you to identify potential errors or concerns as you are processing payroll. So in this center screenshot where it has active not paid and zero net pay, this alerts you that, hey, you have 178 employees that you've brought into your payroll, but they have zero net checks. That could potentially be a complete error. Maybe they should all have regular earnings and you forgot to select create regular earnings for this payroll. And that will tell you right then, hey, I need to undo this payroll and start all over to make sure that I create regular earnings for this payroll. Or with this active not paid feature, should we actually have 178 people marked as active but unpaid? Maybe they should really be on LOA, or maybe they should really be terminated. It's giving you a lot of alerts as you go. With the analytics, you do have the option to turn these on or off. Typically, when Mosaic configures this for you, we will always recommend that you turn it on. It is just a super cool pre-check feature to make sure that your payroll is accurate. So remember, I just mentioned checking that box where regular pay is active when you start your payroll. This is where that is. That's that regular pay is active. If you use our compensation module, then you see you can bring in those compensation data items as well as those pending pay items. It will give you a number next to pending pay. It'll say 15 pending pay items. It'll let you know exactly how many you're bringing in, which is extremely important and another quick, helpful audit tool. So in this payroll overview section, which is your landing page within the payroll gateway, for the pay group, you see it tells you at each step, create and calculate payroll. In the back office, you don't typically see all of the processes that are running behind the scenes. In the web, there's a little plus sign here. We've already expanded this, but if this were your actual environment, it would be collapsed. But if you clicked on that, it will tell you, hey, these are the three things that, or two things in this example that it's doing. So it's creating those payroll work tables and doing that calculation. And then we can set up each one of those payroll steps to run specific reports at each step. So you can always expand that and say, hey, why is this taking so long? What all is happening in this step? You click on it and you may see 5 or 6 things that are actually being done. And you may have 1,000 employees in that particular pay group. And you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's running 5 separate processes in this one particular step. And another thing that's good about that is when we configure, you can say, hey, I want to run this pre-check detail listing at this create and calculate step, and I want to run it again at the calculate payroll step. We can pull in these pre-check reports at as many steps as you'd like. So with that security and payroll processes by role, if said payroll processor did not have access to, say, start payroll and create batches, but they can just bring in time, when they landed on the payroll overview page for the pay group that they have access to, they would see these little lock symbols here saying that, hey, these things are grayed out and locked because you don't have access to them. The only thing that you can do, payroll processor, is bring in time. You can bring in time, verify time, cancel time, and import changes. Let's say they notice some errors, and then that's it. And then it will have to transition back to, say a payroll manager to complete the rest of the steps. Questions in the chat, Jamie?
So someone did share that the templates are now that should be available to create new import templates on the web. And then the question was asked if there are any are all of the import templates that they currently use in back office available now on the web, to which, if they're activated, yes. I don't know if we can share the configuration, the navigation of configuration to that, but Amy, if you want to reach out to the info at Mosaic, we can definitely connect with you on that. And then that's been it for the most part.
So thank you for answering those. All righty, so here's that time entry worksheet. It's just a really quick and cool spot for you to update time for your multiple employees using the mass update feature within the template. You can sort it, you can view it, you can do all the things just on one quick landing spot. So this is an example of one of the time entry templates where we can say, hey, we know there's errors, but we want you to go ahead and submit it. If there is additional data that you wanted to display, we can tell it here, which employees we'd like to include, etc. So you have those options here to do some additional defining of those time entry templates, again, which makes it super duper easy on that time entry step. It's just an extension of that with all of the earnings and deductions you might want to pull in. And same thing there. And then here you can get into this employee's time entry piece and do some edits here. Just really cool, really slick. So if you needed to reset, that's where that cancel time, import and lose changes step comes in. And so the system will say, oh, great, we just brought in time for WFM. Something looked funky. So the customer said, hey, let's cancel this. You can click that and it's super easy. You can click it and it'll cancel everything and bring you back to that bring in time step. Some people, I have found some customers that I've trained that just prefer to just undo it altogether. So that's why we showed this example all in one slide. I tell people to pick their poison and help them to understand what the difference is. And once we get you into that conversion space, we'll explain to you in a little bit more detail about what happens if you cancel versus if you undo. But you can do either once you've brought in that time and you said, hey, something's not right. I brought in the wrong pay group. I didn't bring in all the people or whatever. So that undo a payroll process, we call it a game changer because it is so easy, so easy for you to just click along these things I can do and undo a payroll process. And you don't have to click, I want to undo calculate, and I want to undo bring in time, and I want to undo create batches, all of that. You can just say, hey, undo a payroll process and go all the way up to start. The system will know I want to unopen the payroll altogether, and it will undo everything all in one quick snap. All righty. So some additional pros to moving to web payroll and some processes. And the one that I see that's number 8 here, but I always tell people testing. That is a must. You do not want to wait until the last minute to convert from that back office payroll process into the web and not allow yourself time to test. Testing is extremely important. While it essentially should be a seamless process, it is always a system, and it is always something you want to test and make sure you've done your smell test to say it makes sense. I understand it. I understand the processes, and everyone's getting paid correctly. So while we sneak this in as number 8, it is Aisha's number 1, that testing is a must. Another quick pro that I will continue to say is the payroll models. You can configure as many of these as you'd like. They are making some changes, and Jamie, keep me honest here. I believe mid-market clients now can make some additional changes to their payroll models, the same as the enterprise clients now. So you can make some additional payroll models that may be more suitable to your environment. And then this process payroll, the rollout again can be over time. So now that we are in August and you have to roughly early 2026, allowing yourself that time to transition is extremely important, especially if you are one of those larger employees, 5, 10, 15,000 employers where you have 5, 10, 15 pay groups. You want to allow yourself that time to roll it out and to test. I will keep throwing that back in, and to test. For right now, the back office processes will not go away. However, once back office is fully sunset, you will be able to go in there. But once it is fully sunset, you will not be able to go in there. I do not ever suggest that you process payroll in the back office and the web at the same time, because there are errors that can potentially happen. So once you are on that web payroll, you've opened in the web, stay in the web. I am training my clients to do as much as possible in the web and only refer to the back office when absolutely positively needed. It helps right now while you have that ability to go back into the back office. It helps with training your brain to say, hey, I need to process payroll in the web. I need to add a new earning code in the web. So I know it's not fully sunset, but you want to make sure that you are testing, and practicing as much as you can. And that number 11, where you start the process, is where you finish. You do not want to go back and forth. So again, that's why you want that time to test and train, so that if you get stuck and you have Mosaic, we're here and we will tell you, no, go right back to the web. You started in the web, finish in the web. Don't get scared and go back to back office trying to avoid finishing in the web. We will keep you on track there. Before we end, Jamie, do we have any additional questions?
No, the question, last question was, when undoing, once you've imported, can you select which template you want deleted or undone? And the answer is no. It's everything that has not been calculated at that point is going to be undone.
Absolutely correct. Well, we'll give you another 2 or 3 minutes for some additional Q&A in the chat. But for right now, we do want to let you know Mosaic has various pricing packages for you. If you are interested in Mosaic assisting you with moving from the back office to the web payroll, you can reach out to us at info@mosaic-cg.com or visit our website at www.mosaic-cg.com. And one of our fabulous salespeople will reach out to you and work with you on pricing, next steps, timing, etc. Any more questions coming in, Jamie?
The last one here, and I was just answering it for Michelle, that if you've imported and calculated and then you do another import but don't calculate that second import, yes, when you do that undo process, it will roll back just that new latest import file. So the one that's been calculated will stay there.
Yep. That's one of those differences between canceling that time and undoing it that we will talk to you about during the training. It does make a difference.
And then Christina had a question about seeing the setting on the deductions in the EE record, but you can't see them on the web. Do we know if UKG is fixing that before the sunset? So everything that we've been told, that they're not going to sunset until everything is migrated over. So the same functionality that's on the back office will be on the web before they sunset back office.
Correct. There's a little spot in the hamburger menu as well that you can actually go into the employee's record within the check and see the active, inactive deductions and make some changes in there as well. It's not quite what you're expecting to see from a back office standpoint, but it is a slight workaround for right now. Any other questions?
And then Christina also said that they have an issue trying to see items that fail to be verified. So definitely reach out to us and we can help work through some of those to get more details.
Absolutely.
Well, Mindy, I'm sorry, I missed your question about the calendars. Let me scroll up here. Oh, I don't see it.
Are you looking for Mindy's, Janet?
Yeah, I did find it. I had to scroll up and it got buried in there. Let's see. We have multiple pay groups that don't always keep to a normal cycle. We have to inactivate payrolls within the schedule. We were able to inactivate multiple payrolls at one time in back office. However, in the web, we have to inactivate one payroll at a time, which is so time consuming. Is the back office inactivation available in the web? At this time, it's one at a time and basically one pay period at a time. So at this time, it's still just back office functionality.
And then Jeanette had a question on overriding employees' taxes, Social Security, and Medicare for post-onlys. Yes, you can do that in the web now. You must be real old school, Jeanette, like me. When I first started at UKG way back when, you could only do that in the back office. But yes, you can do that in the web now.
And then Maria did ask, what kind of errors have we experienced when you do back office and web?
I have not personally seen any errors in the conversion, thankfully. Mosaic does a great job, and the same error messages that you would normally see in back office, i.e. you're missing a social security number, you're missing a tax code, those types of error messages, of course, I still see, but not strictly related to functionality. I have not seen any.
And then the other question is, will UKG develop batch reports on the web like back off?
I'm not sure if I know what batch reports you're referring to, Grace. If you can put a few more details in the chat, that would be great.
But Mindy, that's a good question to see if they are going to put that inactivation piece in the web. I hadn't realized that they've taken it away already. If you haven't already, definitely put that in the ideas section in Pro on the web. So that way the developers can take a look and then have people vote on it. Let us know, we'll vote on it.
We absolutely will. There's also a customer section for the sunset of back office to where you can pose your questions as well. So if you do a search in the community on sunsetting of the back office, it'll bring you up the timeline, and there's a Q&A section for customers to drop there as well. Oh, you did that already. Great.
And Christina, as far as integration files, there may be some tweaks depending on how they're currently set, how they are currently sent today. So there may be some changes that would have to be done. So that would definitely be something we could help look at.
Absolutely. We do have other pricing packages for moving files from the back office to the web. So reach out to those same contact email or website to where we can help you with that too.
Okay, so Grace said that we create batch reports that will run multiple reports at one time. So I know during the payroll process, there are currently just a limited set of reports that run automatically during the payroll steps. I don't know if there's a plan to add more to that, but right now it's kind of basic with the pre-check reports and final, like pre-check detail register, deduction by deduction report, and the same with the post
There are
payroll.
additional pre-check reports that you would like to run. Mosaic can help you with that as well. We can create some BI reports for you. Again, you can reach out to us via our website or that info at mosaic-cg.com. All righty, it looks like we have addressed, excuse me, it looks like we have addressed all the questions. Again, if there's something that you may want to know that was not addressed in today's webinar, you can reach out at www.mosaic-cg.com or info@mosaic-cg.com, and one of our wonderful salespeople will get in contact with you. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, and we hope to work with you in the very near future. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.